let's talk about surface area of a cube. First, let's review the definition of a cube. A cube is a special type of rectangular prism, and it has 6 square faces, or you might think of them as 6 square sides. Today we're going to look at finding the surface area of a cube. So finding the surface area of a cube, notice the picture at the bottom here. It is the picture as if we unfolded a cube. And you can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different sides or 6 different faces. We just laid them out flat. To find the surface area, we would need to find the surface area of each of those sides and add it together. But since they're the same, they're squares, we can just find the area, the surface area of one of the faces or sides and multiply it by 6, since all 6 faces are identical. So here we have the formula for surface area. Surface area is what this SA stands for, of a cube equals 6 times E squared. And this E simply means the edge, and all of the edges of the cube are going to be the same. So we just need to know the length of one edge, and that's what goes in for E into our formula. So let's try an example. So for number 1, our cube, you can see some of the edges are labeled, not all of them, but some of them are labeled, and they're all the same. They're all 8 inches. If one edge is 8 inches, they will all be 8 inches. So I know that E for edge equals 8 inches. And that's what I'm going to plug into my formula. So I want to see all of your work here. Show me the formula you're going to use. SA equals 6E squared. That's our formula for surface area of a cube. SA equals 6 times, that dot means times. Now put the 8 in for E. 8 squared. SA equals, so this really is just 6 times 8 times 8. The 8 squared just means do 8 times 8 twice. 8 times itself twice. And then 6 times 8 times 8 is 486 inches squared. Oops, sorry, that's not right. Sorry, that should be the final answer here. I was looking at a different problem. That should be 384 inches squared. So that's your final answer for number 1. Let's try number 2. All right, number 2. So here is our second cube, and you're given that one of the edges is 10 centimeters. That's all we need to know to get started on our problem. First, write down the formula that we're going to use. For a cube, surface area equals 6E squared. Formula you need to memorize. SA equals 6 times 10 squared. That is simply 6 times 10 times 10. 6 times 10 times 10 is 600. And that is centimeters squared. Don't forget that squared on centimeters since we are working with area. All right, now let's look at lateral surface area. Just like lateral surface area for a rectangular prism, a rectangular solid, the lateral surface area of a cube does not include the top and bottom faces. So if we grab this image of our unfolded cube, this cube would actually be the bottom, and this cube would be the top. So if we take those away, you can probably guess what the new formula will be for lateral surface area. It's simply LA, lateral area, equals 4e squared. So instead of 6 times e squared, this time it is 4 times e squared, and that's because we took away 2 of the faces or 2 of the sides for the lateral surface area. So let's try an example with the lateral surface area. All right, so no picture this time. You could draw one if you'd like. But our instructions say find the lateral surface area for a cube with edge of 6.2 inches. So we already have the formula here on the screen. Lateral, make sure you pay attention to that word so you know to use this formula instead of the regular surface area formula. Lateral area equals 4 times e squared. So your first step is always write down the formula you're using. LA equals 4 times e squared. Now I simply put in 6.2 in for e. And that is squared, which is the same thing as 4 times 6.2 times 6.2. Try not to get confused with these dots meaning times and then the decimal points. So in a calculator, 4 times 6.2 times 6.2 is 153.76, or you can do it by hand, obviously. And that is inches squared. Okay, let's try one more example like that and we'll be finished today. All right, number 4, find the lateral surface area for a cube with edge equal to 12 centimeters. So notice the keyword lateral, so make sure you use your lateral, your LA formula, equals 4 times e squared. 12 goes in for e. So 4 times 12 squared, which is the same thing as 4 times 12, times 12. Which is 576, and that is centimeters squared. So again, your two formulas, just to recap, for a cube, the surface area is 6 times e squared. And if it asks you to find the lateral surface area, that equals 4 times e squared because it just doesn't include the top and bottom of your cube.